you, Linda. Love you.
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing "Oh Happy Day."
One word prayer. Justice, where are you?
Justice Serve TV is on the air. Happy Fridelson Friday, Linda Kenny Bodden.
That's why I am dressed in our
Well, decked
hoodie
out.
from Justice Serve TV, right? From our merch store. It's Friday. A little dressed down for.
Is that what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got.
okay.
We're wearing. I'm in the. I'm in the cabin, and yeah, this is the new coloration, by the way. The one I told you about. I wore it once. It's beautiful, blues and pinks and all.
Mhm,
It's got
mhm.
matching yoga pads and all.
Cool.
So Justice Serve TV merch store. There you go. Just
Perfect
click on it.
loungewear. That's good. Good idea. All right, I got nothing. So today we are getting so close to the kickoff of the Donna Adelson trial, and as we've said before, people have just, it seems, discovered this case. Like, oh my gosh, what happened? There was another trial? What? Well, yeah, there were 3 other trials. Trying to kind of pick up the pace. Get with us here. And we've been there since the beginning.
Right.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
And that's why we've heard all different testimony, and some of the testimony has changed a lot.
Oh yeah,
from trial 1 to
there's
trial 2,
liars involved in this,
and different, like a little different takes on it and all that kind of stuff. So there's not just one like thing. The one thing that's true is Dan Markel is dead, and it was assassinated.
And we should not lose sight of that. That was 11 plus years ago now.
Yeah, we were on the air, as a matter of fact, last month on the anniversary.
That's right. That's right.
It was hard to believe.
July 14.
Yeah.
So as we come up on the matriarch, the alleged mastermind, Donna Adelson's trial, which is beginning with jury selection on the 19th, just a week and a skosh later than today. We've been going through some of the more important witnesses. We started with Wendi part 1 last week. We'll have Wendi part 2 today. And then the Friday just before they begin, we will kind of do a collection of some of the evidence we expect to come in, including things like the bump.
The bump. I love the bump. Can we get Michael Easter on when we do that show?
You're asking me. What am I? I'm not his agent. All right. But we should ask. We could definitely ask.
Because we're going to do that show next Friday.
And then we'll also have her apprehension on the jetway, which was the subject of a motion in limine, of course. We want that out. All of these things, for those who have followed the prior trials, you start watching these pretrial motions with, again, the same judge, Stephen Everett, and there's no surprises because the defense, although a different defense team for Donna Adelson, they're bringing virtually the same motions to keep damning evidence out, and the judge is ruling pretty much the same way that he did the last couple of times. To that point, just earlier this week, I think it was a couple of days ago, there was a motion brought by not one of the parties, not by a party. Who could care about what's happening in this case if they're not a party? Oh, I don't know. Maybe Wendy Adelson?
Oh.
So she brings this is non-party Wendy Adelson's motion for permission to place a statement on the record and to quash defense subpoenas. Let's get into this just briefly before we get into
Wendy
some
Adelson,
of her prior testimony.
The grieving widow.
She's basically looking for 2 things. She wants to say on the record that she will plead the 5th if the defense calls her as a witness. The witness has been subpoenaed by both the defense and the prosecution. The critical difference is when the prosecution subpoenas you, it comes with this use and transactional or derivative immunity. It's part of the process, part of the package, part of the protection, part of the incentive to get you to testify. Well, the defense subpoena does not have such luxuries. So what you have the possibility of happening is the prosecution has the witness do their thing. The defense, either through cross or calling the witness again themselves, can get into some areas that the witness is not protected from incrimination. And that puts her in a position of having to take the 5th when nobody wants, I don't think any side wants any witness to sit in the box and then start taking the 5th.
And you're not allowed to call a witness if you know they're going to take the 5th.
Exactly.
Jury. Has to be done beforehand.
And so they're trying to clean that up. And if this sounds familiar at all, first of all, I'll tell you the judge ruled exactly as he did last time, back in the case against Catherine Magloire, her retrial. Same.
You're going to drive people crazy. We're going to get 50 million comments. That's
And
not how you pronounce her name.
I know, and I am sticking with it. Just like the word spelled ERR. Nobody pronounces it properly. They say air, and that's wrong. It's Check it out. So Meg Benoit, as I know from my relative who lives in the Philippines, is the proper pronunciation. So anyway, they do this again, just like last time. Hey, and so what the court ruled was the defense is effectively limited in their cross-examination to subjects brought up by and responded to by the witness in their direct. That's it. So normally the original cross, I'm not talking about the redirect, recross, no, the original cross usually can go pretty far afield.
Right.
Not in this case because of that Fifth Amendment issue. So anyway, it was made to be a bigger deal than it truly is. If you've seen this pop up on some other LawTube sites, it's not a surprise. It happened last time. It happened again. And, she will be testifying. In fact, I like this part. I even highlighted it. Let me shrink this a touch. Non-party Wendy J., that's Jill Adelson, is the daughter of defendant Donna Adelson. Donna is expected to be one of the first witnesses called by the state in Donna Adelson's trial. And that's very important to me.
Right.
Because of my scheduling issues. And so I think we're going to be okay. I'm going down there we know that jury selections begins on a Tuesday, the 19th. The court thinks there'll be a jury impaneled that week for sure, maybe Thursday. The only hitch could be if they start openings and evidence on that Friday, okay? Because they could start to openings the end of the day Friday. They could do openings, but if they call her on that Friday, I'm not going to be there till Monday,
right,
25th. So I will, they did not check with me apparently on the scheduling of this.
And it's interesting because both the defense and prosecution agree they don't want to pick the jury and go right into openings. They would like to have some time between, and that's kind of standard. You want to, it's 3 hours, whatever. Because we've seen judges who make people just go right into openings when they pick the jury.
Well, in fact, in the Casotis case, and we just yesterday talked to Doug Weinstein after his defeat in that case.
Poor Doug.
That I know. It was good to hear from him, though, and I give him total credit because, as he told me when I was reaching out, he said, "Look, I'm not going to run away from the press when I lose if I'm going to be there when I win." I respect
such a good
that.
guy. He's such a good, and as you heard from our show last night, he did such a great job with what he had. And we're going to continue to follow that because he fascinates me. He fascinates me.
And my point was that in his trial, they did just ramrod everything.
Yes,
boom, boom,
right,
boom.
right.
And even when they got to the verdict, which was arrived at in an hour and 17 minutes, 12 charges, 12 guilty. The man now convicted of murdering and dismembering his wife and using various tools to do so. That's what some of the other charges were. That's to get it done that quickly. That first conversation was, anybody think he's not guilty? No. Let's fill this in.
Remember, we talked to you all about those two kinds of jurors. The jurors that go in and they want to like find out where they are right away, like either it's a straw vote or a straw conversation. And then there's jurors that want to go through all the evidence and they want to plow their way through until they get to something. And if you were Judge Cannone, you would have given the instruction, don't take that straw vote. Don't see where you are, right?
Yeah.
So clearly this jury was like, okay, anyone?
Yeah. Anybody have any argument not to just stick it to this guy? No? Okay, let's look at some stuff.
Let's look at
take it out. Maybe.
And they all had to go to use the ladies' room and the men's room, the bathrooms.
Yes, let's learn about your families and what you're going to get back to.
Exchange phone numbers, and boy, that was probably even a rush with an hour and 17 minutes to do all that.
It could be. They could have been like, okay, we got to wait a little bit longer.
They didn't even wait till after lunch.
No. Well, they probably heard what was on the menu. Like I said yesterday, if they heard it was hot dogs, don't forget it. But if they had something nice, maybe they would have strung it out. Anyway, my whole point is that most cases don't go bam, bam, bam quite that fast. And they went from the verdict to sentencing, including victim impact statements, with a 10-minute break. So anyway, fascinating to hear from Doug on that case. Not exactly, kind of the other end of the spectrum from his YSL experience and getting the acquittal for
Yeah.
Diamante.
And so that brings us back to the Adelson case. And so the whole idea is that possibly they could open on that Friday. They could have openings and maybe witnesses on the Friday. The defense attorney did say that he preferred Monday at some point. And also, I think it just kind of depends. So hopefully you're there, and maybe they'll just have openings. Although the openings are only going to be, from what I understand, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
That's it, each 45 minutes. So there's going to be a witness if it's only a 45-minute opening and they start Friday morning. That's for sure.
There could be a witness scheduling issue. My understanding is Wendy Jill Adelson lives in Colorado now. So she's traveling. So they may, if they do get ready for witnesses Friday, they may, have others to fill until some of the people traveling, like Wendy, can get in there for Monday. So we'll see.
We hear you, meaning you will be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of that Adelson trial, just so everyone remembers.
Yep. Okay. So let's with that, let's get back to the.
We had Wendy won last week. Wendy won,
and so we're picking up with some of her cross-examination when Daniel Rashbaum was defense counsel for Charlie on his way to a stunning loss, and Stephen Everett, the same judge. I want to start with what he did on this portion. We'll go back into some redirect, which is also very important. But the judge kind of sets up the tone for some of the background facts with a stipulation between the parties. And I think it's interesting, just for, as a primer or as a refresher for getting ready for the next trial, some of these established facts are not changing, right? So whether they're entered through a stipulation in the Donna trial or some other form, these things from the judge give us a kind of anything we can get to help kind of lay the foundation for this case, I think, is helpful. So let me find what I need to find here. This is where I always screw up and I have no audio, but I think I've got this one figured out. Okay, I think I do. Okay, this may actually have audio. Would that be crazy? Let's see. Okay, there's Charlie. He is the man soon to be convicted.
Members of the jury, when the parties agree that certain facts are true, that is called a stipulation of fact, you must accept stipulated facts as having been proven. However, the significance of these facts, as with all facts, is for you to decide. In this case, the stipulated facts that you must accept are true are: the Markel children were enrolled at Creative Preschool located in Tallahassee. During the week of July 14th, 2024, their drop-off pickup schedule was as follows. Monday, July 14th, 2024, dropped off
I think it's 2014.
8:55 a.m. by Dan Markel, picked up at 5 p.m. by Dan Markel.
So even the court can make mistakes. Did you see Wendy looking over at him?
Right.
The first time he said 2024, obviously this crime happened in 2014, and these events were 4 days before that. But he even said it the second time. So at some point, got to fix that.
Tuesday, July 15th, 2014. Dropped off at 8:25 a.m. by Dan Markel, picked up at 4:50 p.m. by Dan Markel. Wednesday, July 16th, 2014, dropped off at 9 a.m. by Dan Markel, picked up at 4:30 p.m. by Wendy Adelson. Thursday, July 17th, 2014, dropped off at 8:30 a.m. by Wendy Adelson, picked up at 4:45 p.m. by Dan Markel.
That was the day before.
Friday, July 18th, 2014, dropped off at 8:50 a.m. by Dan Markel.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And he was dead.
So
Right after that. And earlier you said July 14th. It was July 18th because we were on the air for the 11th anniversary, by the way. So even you could make a mistake.
It's very possible. Yeah, I know. Hard to believe. So once again, we have to note Wendy's clothing and her hairstyle. She did wear the exact same thing for the first two trials.
Right.
This was her first outfit change for trial number 3. So we're all waiting with bated breath for trial 4s. And she does have the hair, as
on
you
July
can see.
17, 2014, as Your Honor just recited, you recall dropping the kids off at school at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes.
and Professor Markel picked them up at 4:45 p.m. on that day, thereabouts.
Which I just heard, but I wouldn't have known what time.
You didn't pick them up that
I
day.
didn't. No, it wasn't my day.
So it would be impossible. The person would be wrong if they said that they saw you and the kids by Professor Markel's house in the afternoon or morning of July 17, 2014, correct?
It would be some other woman and some other kids.
See, she could have just said no, wouldn't it? But she
You
has
spoke to your
more.
mom probably close to daily, right?
Yeah,
During this time period. She would know when you had the kids and didn't have the kids, right?
probably.
Now, I want to go back to something briefly that we talked about yesterday before we stopped. You knew that Professor Markel posted his travel plans on Facebook and on his prof's blog, right?
Yes,
He would talk about places and conferences that he was speaking at, right?
you would.
Are you aware that on the weekend of the 20th, he was supposed to speak at a conference in New Jersey, and he posted it on Prof's blog as well as on Facebook?
Yes.
I really felt like this whole cross was it wasn't very
Let's
strong.
talk a little bit about Best Buy.
Boring in many instances.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm showing you what's marked for identification purposes only as Defense Exhibit 29 and 30. Looking at Defense Exhibit 29, does that refresh your recollection that the warranty was under your father's name for
Yes.
that TV?
Mm-hmm.
A warranty with the Geek Squad?
Yes.
Now, before you look at Exhibit 20, do you recall that your mother scheduled the appointment for the TV to be fixed with this Geek Squad?
I remembered that I scheduled it, but it looks like she scheduled it and gave me the number to call in case I needed to reschedule it.
And in fact, she emailed you on July 11th and told you if you can't keep the appointment on the 18th, call this number to reschedule it, right?
Yes.
You can put that aside.
The broken TV. Remember that with the whole reference to hiring a hit person rather than fixing the TV.
Charlie is yawning, so to speak, or stifling,
Yeah.
stifling a yawn, like, oh, this is one appointment.
That is it's such a bad look to be yawning at your own murder trial.
Yeah.
But the fact is, this is boring.
The fact is, he's right. You're absolutely right. This cross-examination is boring. I
yeah,
have to say.
and so this will be, compare this to what we
I want to talk a little bit more about July
hear
18th.
upcoming in the new trial.
Do you recall leaving your house that day on Aqua Ridge Ray around 12:30 in the afternoon?
I do.
And you were going to meet a friend for lunch at a place called Mosaic,
Yes.
but you had to pick up a bottle of
Whoops.
Body. Whoops.
bourbon
Whoops.
or
Gotta pick
whiskey.
up the
I don't know if
body.
they're the same,
Freudian.
but Bullet
Oh.
whiskey.
It was bourbon.
Okay. It was for your friend's wedding shower that night.
They were having a stock the bar party, so they asked for specific kinds of alcohol to stock the bar.
I've never heard. That's a good idea. I've never heard
And
that.
What kind of party?
Stock the bar so people just bring liquor for your bar.
Okay, stock.
I'm showing you what's marked
Remember that.
as Defense Exhibit 32. Is this the invitation that you received?
Yes, that's it.
Judge, I would move Defense Exhibit 32 into evidence at this point in time.
An objection,
Hearsay, Your Honor.
exception.
State of mind.
You can provide me with the exhibit.
Judge Everett's microphone is so bad.
Oh, he's actually good today. His voice is just like a character. But, just talks like that.
The objection is sustained. She may testify as to her amendment.
No,
Recall
no
on
stock the bar
right-hand,
invite.
left-hand corner of the invitation, it says, help the bride and groom stock the bar for their wedding and bring a bottle of Bullet bourbon. Do you recall that?
Yes.
You can put that aside.
And the jury's thinking, okay,
Now,
So what?
you
Right?
decided to go to
Where are we going?
ABC Liquors on Bedden Road to look for the bourbon, right?
I did.
You're not a big drinker, is that fair to say?
That is fair to say.
she's
You
far
went to
too
that store because you were
coquettish.
familiar with it?
I'd seen it close to my house, so
Close.
So here's what this is about. It sounds weird, but the route to the liquor store relates to her drive-by of the murder scene. That's kind of where this seems to be going.
To your old house.
close to my old house.
There could have been liquor stores that were closer to your current house?
Sure.
Now, when you drove to ABC Liquor, you tried to go through Trescott. Is
I
that
did.
fair to say?
It was blocked.
There are other ways to go to ABC Liquor, right? You could have gone down other roads.
I don't have the best sense of direction, so when I find a route, I just kind of
Oh,
keep using that route. I don't
That
look for
kind of,
something else.
which she does, and it's I think it's like a tell, right? Because that's when she gets that coquettish.
Mhm.
You got to Mosaic at around 1 p.m.
That sounds right.
and your lunch was interrupted by investigator Isom, who told you that something had happened.
That's right.
You went with him voluntarily to speak
did.
with him? You let police search your car?
Yes.
You were interviewed with the investigator from approximately 2:45 p.m. until 7:50 p.m.
Yes.
He told you that your ex-husband had been shot and was unlikely to survive, right?
Yes.
You were in shock.
Yes.
You were pretty open with police, telling them a lot of things, right?
They kept telling me they needed my help, and so I kept trying to help.
Now, you remember on direct, Ms. Kappelman asked you about this interview.
Yes.
And she asked you about all the people you mentioned during the interview, including Charlie.
Yes.
And you said I was just wheeling off names, right?
Yes.
In fact, isn't the first person in the interview that you mentioned was yourself?
Yes.
You said that you would understand if you were viewed as the prime suspect, right?
Yes.
Before you mentioned anyone else, you mentioned yourself.
Yes.
You told them about the motion to relocate.
I did.
You told them about the fight you had with Professor Markel that very morning about some swimming for the boys.
Yes.
You were spitting out a lot of ideas.
I was.
And you agreed to let the police search your phone.
Yes.
You agreed to let the police search your car.
Yes.
That's where they found that picture that I wasn't able to admit of the invitation of the bowl of bourbon, right?
Yeah.
You agreed to be fingerprinted.
Yes.
You agreed to be checked for gunshot residue.
Yes,
You gave them your computer to be searched.
I did.
Towards the end of your interview, you asked the police officer if you could call your parents, right?
I did.
And the police allowed you to do that.
Yes.
And you called your mother's cell phone sometime around 7:04 p.m.
Yes.
And you spoke to your mom. I don't know if you remember, but you remember your dad being in the shower because they were going out to dinner.
I don't remember.
Your mom didn't answer actually the first call, and you called back a couple minutes later and she answered. Do you recall that?
I don't.
And when you called your mom, she was surprised.
Yes.
And you asked her to call Charlie and tell him what happened, right?
Yes.
You didn't speak with Charlie that day, right?
I don't think so.
On July 19th, the next day, you spoke to Charlie at 10:50 in the morning. Is that, you won't know the exact time, but do you recall speaking with him in the morning?
I honestly don't.
Do you recall letting him know that Professor Markel had passed away in the early morning?
I don't remember the conversation.
When your parents came directly to Tallahassee, correct?
They did.
They stopped in Orlando and they got there on the morning of the 19th, right?
Yes.
And when they got there, they were scared and frantic, right?
Yes.
Your dad didn't sleep. He couldn't get police protection, so he planted his chair in the front of your window to make sure that no one was going to come to your house and shoot it up, right?
Correct.
That, of course, is Harvey,
Mhm.
who, as far as we know, is maybe the most pristine part of this whole family operation. When he says he planted his chair in front of the window, I'm picturing that he put a chair in front of the window and he sat there and
Right,
just
yeah. He
watched.
sat there and then to show that there's a male presence and watched and made sure that no one was coming. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Hmm.
What happened to the children? There's no question here. The children had to be picked
Now
up
you
from
all
school.
ended a
The children what?
Had to be picked up from school that afternoon. Notice there's no question there, and
Yeah, because the pattern he was following kind of begs that question.
right.
memorial service on the 20th, right?
Yes.
And you arranged for the Markels to see the boys after the memorial service, right?
They all came over my house.
And you left Tallahassee, correct?
Not on the 20th. No.
On the 21st.
Yes.
And when you left Tallahassee on the 21st, did you bring all your belongings?
I brought some swimsuits for the boys and some pajamas, and I thought we'd be back in a day or two.
And when you left, you were not yourself.
I was a mess.
You got to South Florida and you realized that you could not take care of the boys alone at this point in time.
I hadn't slept in days and I was terrified.
To get a little more specific, you wouldn't leave the house
No,
and you would hardly eat.
I wasn't eating. No.
And ultimately, you decided not to come back to Tallahassee.
I mean, I made that decision much later, but
And you had a friend who you grew up with, I think last name Keener, go back and get your more stuff at your house, right?
he did.
Just doesn't seem very punchy, very prepared, very surgical.
You have one more moment, Your Honor.
It's just kind of like going all over the place. And actually, the worst part is that the camera focuses on Charlie. And I'm always a big one to make sure you have another lawyer. I don't care whether you have to pay
I
for
know,
this stuff.
you've said that,
Sitting
yeah.
next to a client when the camera is there, keeping them engaged, because you see his facial expressions and the camera is just on him. And I think I just think it's a bad look.
Yeah, it is. And in this particular case, he looks even more disengaged and bored. At least if somebody is there, he can interact. He can,
Right.
make it look like he's involved. He cares. The jury sees a guy who doesn't care. Well, why do they
Right.
care then? I mean, this should be building, to a big ta-da,
Right.
and it is not.
Now, it's been said in this courtroom that you have tried to erase Professor Markel's memory from your boy's life. Is that true?
It's not true.
For the first 2 years after the murder, did you limit Professor Markel's family from seeing the boys?
Absolutely not.
In fact, they had complete access to the boys, right?
100%.
They made dinners with the boys.
I cooked dinner for them, yes, every time they visited.
There were sleepovers and play dates.
That's right.
There was no animosity at all, right?
No.
And then in October of 2016, things changed, right?
Yes.
A letter was released where there was a suggestion that Professor Markel's mom was talking to the state about arranging custody for the boys in case you got arrested.
Yes.
And you saw that as a betrayal.
Well, the custody was foster care, so yes.
You saw that as her thinking that you killed her son.
Yes.
And as a result of that, rightly or wrongly, you decided to limit their access.
I was afraid they were going to put my children in foster care.
Do your children know anything about their father?
They know a lot about their dad.
Do they have a picture of him in their bedroom?
Each boy has a picture of them and their dad over their bed that we say good morning to and good night to every day.
Did you benefit from Professor Markel's death?
No.
Well, you got to live in South Florida.
It's not a benefit.
How are your boys doing?
They're doing very well. Thank you.
How has your job prospects been since this case hit the news?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
How are you doing?
Objection.
Objection.
Sustained.
Has this affected your life negatively or positively?
Negatively.
Objection. I would object to that too.
Does Charlie love his nephews?
Very much.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Why? Now, here's something.
Oy.
He's on trial for murder, Charlie. Does Charlie love your nephew? So now you give the motive, right? Now, so he does have somebody sitting next to him, but they're not
Oh, yeah.
close. This is a
Yeah.
trial decision you have to make. You have to get, I don't care. That's a terrible look over there. She's not close to him. She's not talking to him. She wasn't engaged in him. It almost shows like you don't like your client. You believe
Yeah.
your client. And I talk about this to people when I tell them about how to try cases.
Yep. No, it's just the optics are brutal.
That's it?
Okay, yeah, that was so.
Wait,
of
that was
that,
it?
That was it. It's just to talk about a limp-wristed finish. Just kind of. The one thing he did get into there briefly was, whether she felt that the kids were going to be put in foster care because her parents thought she was involved in the murder. Meaning if she's still out free, we're concerned that they're with her because she was somehow involved in the murder. So that was something. I don't know. It doesn't really take the target off of Charlie's back,
Right.
but something.
I
Okay.
don't know. If you ask me what the theme to that cross-examination is, I would say, I don't know. And
No.
I think if there is no theme, everything you do in a trial has to be thematic to whatever they're trying to prove. And I didn't see a theme there at all.
I think when he started talking about the route she took, that was the whole bar stalking party, and she had to go to the liquor store. I think he could have done much more with that. We know that on the direct, she did talk about the route she took, that there were barricades or at least police tape up, and that she went out of her way to kind of go through that area. So the point was made. Maybe he felt he didn't have to relive the entire sequence, but I think he could have done a little bit more with that than he did. So
Redirect examination.
now this will be snappier.
Well, Kappelman knows this case.
The long list of plans that you went over with Mr. Rashbaum that you were going to have in Tallahassee post murder date, none of those plans happened, right?
No,
Because you moved to South Florida, right?
because I felt unsafe to stay here. Yes.
And did you feel safe in South Florida?
No,
Did you buy a house in Tallahassee after the murder?
no, I did not.
Did you rent a house in Tallahassee after the murder?
No, I didn't live in Tallahassee after the murder.
Did the boys go to school that fall here in Tallahassee?
No, all our plans were broken.
And what was the purpose of those questions? Of course you didn't. You moved to South Florida. You didn't have plans in Tallahassee that got executed. Why were you asked about all this?
That's an objection.
Absolutely.
I don't know why I was asked questions by the defense counsel.
The book event that you were asked about, did that event happen?
I didn't speak at the event, but the event still happened.
Have you had several events related to that book that have happened?
I have.
And what events were those?
Do you mean just in Tallahassee or do you mean in other places?
Everywhere.
I've spoken at various schools about human trafficking and about my book. I think there was one event that still happened in Tallahassee about a year later.
And is that the only book you've written, or have you written more than one book?
I've only written one book.
What was the book about?
The book was about human trafficking and about the vulnerabilities that lead to trafficking, the problems when it occurs, and basically how to recover from it after.
Where was the book set?
It was set in a fictional town,
What was the name of the fictional town?
Hiawassee Springs.
So Hiawassee. Is it located in the panhandle of Florida?
No, I used to see the name when I was driving from Tallahassee to Orlando, so it's somewhere in between.
And was the place modeled after Tallahassee?
It was definitely somewhere in Florida, but not supposed to be about Tallahassee, no.
Who was the central character in that book?
Lily.
So there's three central characters. One was one of my clients, kind of a composite character from Eastern Europe. One was kind of a composite character of many clients I've represented from Latin America. And one was a public interest lawyer.
Name?
And was the public interest lawyer Lily?
Yes.
And is that the character that's sort of based after yourself?
No, really more based after a friend of mine.
And was Hiawassee, Florida, quote, just a small stop on the way back to what we had previously known as civilization? Is that a quote from your book?
That sounds like a quote from my book, yeah.
And who's the husband of Lily, the public interest lawyer?
You want his name in the book?
Yes.
I think it was Josh Stone.
All right. And what was Josh's employment?
Josh was an English professor.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Josh was an English professor.
A professor, where did he teach?
It's been a while. I wrote the book over 10 years ago. I don't remember what I named the university in the in the
North
story.
Florida State University,
That sounds right.
NFSU.
NFSU sounds right. Yeah.
All right. And in the
Now, this was,
Right.
she writes the book 10 years ago. This was a trial a year ago, which was the 10-year anniversary of the murder. So she wrote this book at or about the time leading up to Dan Markel's death. So
I mean, in
with the-
fairness, I mean, I don't remember all the characters in the 2 books I've written and all, but the point is, she looks like she's trying to hide what's FSU. I mean, you can't remember that?
yeah, it's and you can't acknowledge how closely that follows your own experience, even though you call Lily based on somebody else.
The book does Lily lament, quote, "We moved to this godforsaken place for Josh's career."
Yes, that sounds like a line Lily would say.
A line
All right.
Lily would say.
Yeah.
When you looked at
Look at
page
look at the look. Stop.
187 of the
Stop.
Okay.
Go back.
Oh
and
shoot!
just
Now
read-
I've
no,
messed
no,
up.
I want you to go back. Yeah, now you messed up. You have to go back and rewind and take a look at Charlie's
Face.
face and body language and what he does with that. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see if
I'm
this is. I think
sorry.
I'm in the ballpark here. Hold on. Let's see.
that you were going to have in Tallahassee post murder date.
I think
None of those
further
plans
along,
happened.
that's still when he's
Before that.
after this. That's,
Oh, it's
that's still-
after.
That's
Okay.
still when the defense attorney's grabbing
I'll
all
let it
this
roll.
stuff.
Right?
No,
Because you moved to South Florida, right?
because I felt unsafe.
Oh,
to
this is.
stay
It is
here,
definitely
yes.
past this. Okay.
And did you
Yeah.
feel safe in
Let me
South
get to that 3 shot is where he was reacting. So let me get back to that here.
Question and his reaction.
Okay, there's his smirkiness, which I think is part of the reaction.
Right.
NFSU?
Here we go.
NFSU sounds right. Yeah.
All right. And in the book, does Lily lament, quote, "We moved to this godforsaken place for Josh's career"?
Yes, that sounds like a line Lily would say.
All right.
Sounds like a line Wendy would say.
When you looked at page
said
187
something.
of
See him?
the
just
divorce
mumbled
document
something.
on cross, and I'll hand that back to you.
That was such a terrible look. I couldn't understand what he mumbled.
Section B.
Couldn't read those lips.
But such a now look at him. Now let me just.
Yeah, now he's not even stifling the big yawn.
Yeah, he's stifling that because he doesn't want to show that he was. Something bothered him there. Now he's going to write a sticky to his lawyer. Something I told you, something bothered him. There was something bothered him there. I don't know what, but something really bothered him.
Do you see the quote that you read previously from that page?
I don't.
Okay. It had to do with, let's see if I can find it. That you were very unhappy in the marriage. I think it's the 3rd paragraph there.
I see that line.
Okay, the wife has been very unhappy in the marriage and files her petition for dissolution of marriage in August 2012. The husband continues to characterize this as abandonment, and then it goes on to say that he had been disparaging you to some of the folks at the law school. Do you remember reading that?
I do.
Was that intended to be the place in this binder where you allege emotional abuse by your husband?
I mean, I think it's emotionally abusive to suggest somebody has mental health issues.
Okay. What is the prof's blog? You were asked about that on Cross.
Yeah, it was a blog that Danny started with some of his colleagues to kind of promote community in the law professor world.
And who reads the prof's?
Probably
Prof's blog?
other law professors and people interested in becoming law professors.
Who is on the Crim Prof listserv?
I don't know.
Were you on the listserv for that prof's blog?
I may have been on the listserv at some point.
Do you remember seeing the post that you were shown on Cross?
I do.
And the post says something about Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is there any other information on what you were shown about Dan's travel plans post-murder other than that?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question?
The post says, Danny and I guess it's another professor writing this thing. Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is that the type of information that he would typically have on something like the Prof's blog or Facebook?
That sounds right.
Okay, but as far as the date he's leaving, the flight he's on, that kind of stuff, would that typically be on the Prof's blog?
He wouldn't put what flight number he was on, but he would almost always communicate when he was going on a trip.
Okay, so going to a conference that starts July 20th might be an example.
Flying to New York tomorrow would be an example,
Okay.
but
But he didn't
not a
put,
flight number.
but he didn't put flying to New York tomorrow on this occasion.
No,
You were referenced several times, not on direct examination by the state, but by your brother's attorney on cross as a co-conspirator. Are you charged in this case?
No.
This isn't your trial, is it?
no,
Is your brother charged with conspiring with you to do a murder?
no.
Is he charged with conspiring with you?
I thought
to
that
plan
she
a
was an
murder?
unindicted
Is
co-conspirator.
he charged
Michael.
with soliciting you to do a murder?
No.
Who is he charged with doing those things with?
I don't think anyone.
Have you?
Yeah, I think the distinction is she's not charged with any of those things. You can be identified as an unindicted co-conspirator, but she's specifically saying, were you charged? Now, on recross, might be something Rashbaum would bring up.
You had an opportunity to review his indictment in this case?
I have not.
An opportunity to take a look at that document yourself.
Now, for everybody who knows, Wendy is a lawyer, all right?
Yeah, and her, kind of administrative, not a litigator, but worked somehow in the HR or the university, the Florida State University academic world, but it was mostly admin type work.
Who is your brother alleged to have done these crimes with?
Catherine D. Magbanowa.
Were you on the wire in this case, Ms. Adelson?
No,
So when the bump happened, are you familiar with the event I'm referencing as the bump?
I am now.
When law enforcement approached your mother on the street and handed her a piece of paper?
Yes,
Okay, when that occurred, who did your mother call?
I don't know.
Not you, right?
Not me.
Okay. And once your brother found out about the bump, did he call you about it?
No,
Who did he call?
I don't know.
Well, you listened to the calls to authenticate the voices, didn't you?
Just to hear the voices, not to hear the content of the calls.
Okay. And the voices were your brother's voice, right?
But I listened to the calls just to hear who was on them, so I don't know what content they're referencing.
I heard your answer. My question to you now is your brother's voice was on the calls.
He was on some of the calls I listened to.
Your mother's voice was on the calls.
She was on some of the calls I listened to.
Uh-oh.
What about Katie?
Did you have any secret meetings with your brother post bump that happened in South Florida?
No,
You were asked about Jeffrey Lacoste and the way that your relationship ended.
Boyfriend.
What
Boyfriend,
is
ex-boyfriend.
OkCupid?
OkCupid is a dating website.
Were you on that dating website?
I was.
Were you on that dating website at the time that you were dating Mr. Lacoste?
No, I wasn't.
And were you speaking? So I guess if you weren't on it, you weren't speaking to multiple men from the website during the time you were dating Mr. Lacoste. And I'll remind you that you provided your phone in this case, and it was cell-brighted, downloaded.
Objection. Argument.
Approach.
I don't know if I'd say that's argumentative.
Didn't you just say that you weren't on OkCupid at the time that you were dating Jeffrey Lacoste?
I don't know when we say I officially stopped dating Jeff Lacasse, but there's a chance that, I don't remember in 2014 whether I had gotten the app and started talking to people before we officially broke up.
Okay, so my point is there's a chance that he was right. You were being unfaithful or at least talking to other people. He had a reason to be jealous.
I think he had some serious jealousy issues that may or may not have been founded.
Yeah, I think we got from your testimony that you believe he had serious jealousy issues. My question to you is, did he have a reason to be?
No.
So he was wrong.
He was wrong in June when he accused me of being with multiple people that I wasn't with. Yes.
Okay.
Now, for those who remember Jeff Lacasse and his infatuation, he was up, down, backwards, and sideways about getting back with her. So
smitten.
Yes, smitten. He had fallen under her spell, as we've talked about before. And so he believes that during that time, post-breakup, official or otherwise, that she was dabbling, and she's saying, no, I wasn't doing that.
Michael, can we stop? Let me ask you a question. Kappelman, the prosecutor, who knows this case inside out, is going through all sorts of questions here to make it pretty clear that Wendi is not a target of this trial. She's not an indicted co-conspirator. She didn't know about the bump. She didn't get the call from the mother. The mother called Charlie. Doesn't that hurt at some point in the end if the end game plan is to go after Wendi, as many people want or think should be appropriate?
Well, I think it could, but I think that's the beauty of these separate trials. Obviously, if you're trying these folks together, you're doomed, right? Because you can't have it both ways. I think they can twist this Q&A during Mama Donna's trial and get what they need from her, this witness, and others, that more impacts, more points to Donna and doesn't extricate her. Some of this testimony, you might think, well, yeah, maybe that would help Donna. I don't think it's going to come out like this in Donna's trial. And then you can't, unless there's a true contradiction, it's not like you can whip up Wendy's testimony from this trial and say, well, isn't it true you said in this trial? I think you have to massage it properly, or you do have a problem.
Yeah,
right?
because she's testified in all the trials, right?
Yes.
I mean, on the little different questions, and we've heard from people that we know that dealing with Karen Reed, for instance. We discussed with the other night with Jimmy, Auntie Deb, that he wants to give Donna. He loves Donna Adelson. He wants to give her a nail file to break out of prison. And we heard from Olivia Nile, who knows Aidan Carney very well, and Aidan Carney said on his broadcast that he thinks that this witness, Wendy Adelson, is hot. I mean, so this is kind of a really interesting viewpoint. Those of us who have followed these trials, I believe, think that the state may have a pretty good case against Donna Adelson. Yep. And for some reason, don't think Wendy Adelson is so hot, except that she apparently does attract the people. But we've seen also, we've also seen killers. The Doug Weinstein case we just had with Casares.
He's obviously a lady killer, and
how soon we forget.
Now literally a lady killer, but yeah, he was he
wives.
went immediately from first wife to second wife to third wife.
Right.
And Thomas Randolph, we talked about too, had 6 wives, and half of them ended up dead, maybe even 4.
Yeah,
and these guys, on face value, you're like, I don't get it.
So
I more get it with Wendi than I do with those 2 guys, but maybe that's because I'm a guy.
Maybe. Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe. Is it going to continue? Is Kappelman continuing on the redirect?
I think there's a little more here. Let's see.
Maybe. Possibly. It's coming. We think.
Oh yeah, wait a minute. What am I doing? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I'm enjoying it. I'm sitting here.
That's what I'm wondering what you're doing.
Wasn't that the
and I'm
intention of
enjoying
the
it. I'm
email?
going, what's wrong? What's the deal?
I don't know what the intent of the email
up here.
was. There's no, I was not.
I thought you
tired.
were
You're tired. Look, you traveled this week to Massachusetts.
I thought you were just riveted by the testimony. Hold on a sec. Hold on.
We know you had a really rough, exhausting week.
Yeah, okay. I won't blame that. I was just distracted because I have my other screen here, and that's what I'm watching the testimony on, and it always looks the same, whether it's being uploaded through our site, or I'm just watching it. So I think I was under her spell. That's what happened.
I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So are you here? Let me make sure you're at least hearing this.
I heard it. Just
Oh,
because
you
now.
did?
Yeah.
Okay.
What
So
was
let's-
wrong with
Here we go.
Dan's mother trying to make arrangements for the kids in the event of your arrest? Wasn't that a kind thing to do?
I don't think it's kind to put my children in foster care.
Wasn't the foster care intended only to cover the time frame that it would take for her to get on a plane and get here?
She never said that.
You thought she was just going to leave them in foster care?
I don't know what to think. They have a mother. They don't need to be in foster care.
But they wouldn't have a mother in the event of your arrest, Ms. Adelson. Wasn't that the intention of the email?
I don't know what the intent of the email was. I was not going to be arrested for a crime I didn't commit.
She didn't know that though, did she?
I don't know what she knows or doesn't know. I can't speak to that.
Do Dan's parents know whether you committed this crime or not?
I don't know how to answer that question.
How would they? Particularly back at the time that she sent that email. It was fresh at that time, right?
I'm sorry, what was fresh?
All the events that were occurring, the arrests.
That was 2 years after Danny's murder. I don't know what she knew or didn't know. I know that my children don't belong in foster care.
Was it a specific foster care that she was requesting be called in the event that the children had no place to go and were going to be going into the custody of the state?
She did suggest a specific foster care agency,
A Jewish-run foster care agency.
a Jewish foster care.
Okay. So I do dislike how YouTube, throws up those things before the
Right,
end of the
right.
content.
Right.
Just come on, can I finish watching what I want to watch here, please?
Right.
Anyway, and so you can see how that element came back up on redirect in terms of, what if you are arrested? What happens to the kids? And isn't some effort to protect them important? Maybe Wendy's attitude is there's not a chance in hell I'm ever getting arrested. So she's offended by it.
And she made a statement for, I'm not going to be arrested for a crime I didn't commit. It's really interesting because there's like this disconnect when you watch this against the Charlie Adelson, right? This is a case against her brother. And I'm hearing all sorts of subplots going on here, but I'm not hearing the Charlie Adelson evidence, even though there was a bunch of it that we did hear in the trial when you watch it. So what's the subplot, Michael Bryan, going on here with the questioning both of Cross and the redirect on Wendi?
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to blame Charlie for whatever Wendy's involvement was or was not. They're using her to convince this jury that this family operation would do whatever they needed to get whatever they needed relating to the kids, right? It's all about the kids. They want to move them from northern Florida down to southern Florida. Right. And the trial upcoming is going to be, well, that's what Donna wanted. And Donna gets what Donna wants.
Right. Donna's the matriarch.
Yeah. So I think, and this is interesting, I think the prosecution in some way is trying to make the jury understand we're not totally letting this woman off the hook. We have our suspicions about this woman. She is not sitting here at this moment being tried for this murder. But I think it gives her credibility. It gives Kaplan credibility in the jury's eyes because they aren't playing nice with Wendi. Many of these questions she could have totally left out.
Right.
So I think the jury says, "Oh, okay," because everybody who knows this story thinks Wendi is involved.
Right, right. I mean, when you read,
everybody,
you're going to read every comment that comes on this, and they're like, "When is Wendi getting arrested?
She should be in handcuffs already."
Right.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
So I think if the prosecution, especially by the time this was their third go round, by this point they know that's the vibe. Maybe by treating her a little bit as a hostile witness and perhaps someone with a little bit of wrongdoing involved, that the jury gives her credit for that.
All right. All right. All we know is Charlie, everyone's been convicted so far. The way Kaplan has handled this case, everyone's been convicted so far.
Took two swings with Katie Medbenoit, but she got her.
Yep. So. And I have to say, Medbenoit's attorneys in the first trial, her lead was, and I don't remember his name, was excellent. Was truly excellent. Okay. And then she was also being tried with boyfriend. So, it was like, well, boyfriend could be taking advantage of her. So It was different in the second trial. And then she's testified now. She's now testified herself. We've been through her testimony.
Oh yeah,
She
yeah,
testified against Charlie.
Yeah, and we ran some of it a couple of weeks or so ago. I thought it was an interesting decision in the very first trial to try her with Sigfredo Garcia, and it worked because the jury had this obvious evil Latin king killer to focus on, and they were hung on her. But when it was just Katie on her own, they strung her up as well. So
Right.
Well,
Well,
11 years and counting. Will total justice for Dan Markel ever really be achieved?
well, will total justice for the two children ever really be achieved? That's really the
How'd you like to
question.
be living that life? I mean, not just
I-
with
I
that same
mean-
last name, but every day of your life, you're reminded either by a current trial, an upcoming trial, a trial just finished, a relative in prison.
Right.
Your uncle's in prison. Now grandma is going on trial.
And apparently, I don't know whether the contact with the Markel family is still cut off. I don't know enough about that. I didn't care to look because right now I'm focused on us covering the Donna Adelson trial. But this is, and I always say it, and people ragging, oh, yes, that's so standard line. But yes, the children are the true victims in this case. All right.
And
Whether they
it's
have
true
a
in any
picture-
family law case where the kids are subject to a divorce. This is just about as extreme as it gets because
Right.
it's, divorce/murder. So,
Right. So,
all right.
Hi,
Well, it's
all
going
right.
to be a doozy.
right. It's going to be a
I
doozy.
think the attention on this is so multiplied. Maybe it's because Kohlberger, kind of ended, and people were so focused on that for this August trial.
Right.
But now the Adelson thing is picking up some of the slack, and it's impossible once you get into this not to be kind of hooked on all the characters, the intrigue, the people you don't like, the people that might be getting away with something. It's one of those cases that kind of captures your attention. So that's why we're doing what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. And you also want to see what it is how Kaplan is going to try Donna. Because when we were listening to some of Wendi 1, those emails from Donna to Wendi were pretty bad.
When you see some of those, and they've been labeled, Jewish guilt emails, but yeah, Donna does not hold back in how she believes Charlie protected Wendi all along.
Right.
And now, who's going to protect you? He's in prison.
Right.
So yeah, there's a little venom in there from Mommy Dearest. So.
All right.
Okay.
Fridelson Friday. This is Wendi too. We can't wait till Wendi gets on the stand again. And
Yes.
I know next Friday we'll be doing more, getting ready for when you go down there. We'll see what the story is in terms of whether the case is starting. We'll have started already, but by the time we're doing this. But you still need that background. You still need that background.
And next week we'll get a little of the nuts and bolts that we expect to be used specifically.
I want the bump.
The bump's coming, the airway arrest, jetway.
Right.
Yeah. And, you see poor Harvey there, he's trying to help his wife. And, I feel sorry for him.
It's almost like they felt that he was like a nothing. I get the prosecution felt like he was nothing, and the family was thinking he was nothing and ineffectual and old and maybe senile or however they were thinking about him, and that he had nothing to do with this. They weren't going to involve him because he was not going to. He was he's not Donna. Okay.
Yeah. And we've heard nothing that suggests he's pulling any strings. We know who's wearing the pants in the Donna Harvey relationship. So I just feel sorry for him because that relationship's a toxic one. Okay, so
family is toxic. This poor Dan Markel.
As the Adelsons turn on one another. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Yes, before you go though, please hit that subscribe, that share, that like, and that notify button, and it'll let you know if you hit notify all when we're coming on. But please, again, it doesn't cost you anything. Subscribe, share, like, and if you want to join and be a member, $2.99 a month. We'll have extra content, and of course, we'll be covering the Adelson trial every single day going into the end of the August, summer August, right?
Yep.
As the Adelsons turn, can't miss it.
All right, until next time, try to do the right thing.
Riding flames, they charge me